Okay.
Okay, here we go. Ready, Anderson?
Let's go. Welcome everyone to We Could Be Wrong, but Who Cares? With your host, Anderson.
Christopher Harris.
Rene Garcia.
Richard Ruiz.
I'm John.
This is Sean.
And Mike.
All right, guys. So
Let's go.
broken promises, broken promises, broken promises. You know how it is. So the situation is this. Yesterday in our country here in the United States was a very interesting day. There was a lot of people are calling it a insurrection. There was a breach at the Capitol building. We're going to talk about it. We will have people who will call in who were actually there in DC. Some were at the Capitol building. None of the people that will call breached or entered the building. They were at the steps, and we'll have a photo of that. And that's one of the people now. Let me go and just put them down. And the situation is we're going to talk about this. I really want to open up the show with Sean. And then from there, just with your thoughts, Sean. I want to open up the show with your thoughts and what you felt about yesterday. And then from there, we're going to, I really want to hear from John. John is the person that I really want to hear from.
You know, personally, I thought it was a sad day, you know, for our country. And I'm not blaming either side for that. I just think it's sad. You know, we had a total of 5 people die now. 1 supporter, 3 people from arbitrary incidents, and 1 Capitol Guard I just heard on the way home passed away. And, you know, I think it was a sad day for the U.S. And I just, you know, I don't want to put blame on anybody for this. I think enough people are going to be putting blame all over the place, but I just think it was sad. And that's, you know, that's my opinion. John?
I would say that yesterday was horrendous. I fully believe in people's right to protest. I believe that's guaranteed in the Constitution. I believe that the incident that happened yesterday completely took the focus away from what was going on yesterday and switched everything. I don't think that we know the after effects of this yet. The people that broke in there, they did not do anyone any favors. I believe that they should fully be prosecuted and they should be put in jail regardless of who they are, whether they claim to be a Trump supporter, whether they claim to be something else. The media coverage that I watched yesterday made me absolutely sick to my stomach. If there was ever a time that I felt like we had just the worst media, it was yesterday. I watched some of this stuff. The very first things that I saw were, this is a group of white supremacists. Was almost the very first thing I heard on CNN. ABC was just as bad. And this is something that, like I said, I don't know what we're going to get the after effects of this. You know, that we're going to have people talking about all these other things in regards, are we going to lose, you know, I'm concerned, are we going to lose more civil liberties over this because people try to break into the Capitol building? Are we going to have less freedom across it? We had the Patriot Act already, which I don't think is a good thing. Are we going to have some sort of increase in that? Not only that, I mean, the whole thing with the election and whether it was real, whether it wasn't real, whether it was rigged, whether it was fair, all that's gone. Everything else, everything that people there that were there protesting, all that's gone. All those issues are gone. It's all been replaced by this. And it's horrible on almost every single level.
How did the media, what did the media do that you thought was incorrect or you didn't like, John, out of curiosity?
Literally, I watched CNN, and I'm not even joking. In the first 3 minutes, I heard them say, "Oh, well, these people must have been white supremacists. These people, you know, acting like Nazis and stormtroopers and busting into the Capitol building and blah, blah, blah," all this kind of stuff like that. If you compare the coverage yesterday versus all the other issues with rioting and things like that throughout the year, there is a major difference in the way yesterday was covered versus Portland versus Chicago versus Seattle. And
But
I
there
understand
was.
there's a difference versus this is the Capitol building and those, but there was people's lives at stake in both places, whether it be the law enforcement officers, the state police, the people that were there, and obviously the people that were busting in, because a lot of people got injured. Unfortunately, one lady lost her life yesterday, and there were lives on the line in both places. The conversation is dramatically different when you have people like, and I'll give you a perfect example. You have people like Chris Cuomo, who's defending the rioting in places, saying, tell me where it's written. And I'm gonna quote you. Tell me where it's written where protests should be polite and peaceful in describing some of the riots. And then yesterday on the shows that they had there, saying these people are the worst of the worst. These people, and again, I really bristle at that white supremacist Nazi thing, because I've heard that so many times. And in my personal life where I live, people saying that to me because I will have a piece of the American flag on my clothing. I'll have a patch on my shoulder. I'll wear a hat, or my mask actually has an American flag on it. Oh, you must be a white supremacist. So that's a real personal thing for me. It is amazing the different things that I heard yesterday, just absolutely god awful. And the differences between, you can pick out whichever one you want to, Chicago versus Washington, D.C., or even when the rioting was in Washington, D.C., comparative to the one on January 6th.
Okay, I want to stop you right there. You said a lot. You hit a lot of tender spots that I've been hearing from fellow Trump supporters who feel like, yet again, they get the short end of the stick. They get mistreated. They get misinterpreted that, BLM and Antifa got to do all this. And then when they even do anything, they're right away the worst of the worst, the Nazis. You hit a lot of those points that side was feeling. Renee, please go ahead.
Okay. First of all, I want to say that I did this in CNN, but I also was clicking over to Fox because I wanted to see what they were saying. And more importantly, I wanted to see what Newsmax was saying. And the total opposite. They were actually praising the guy, saying they were true patriots and that they were trying to take back, they were praising them. So you're saying that these, CNN was saying bad things about them. On the other side, they were praising them. Now, you're saying that during these riots or the storming of the Capitol, that Chris Cuomo, which I equate to maybe like Tucker Carlson, they're not real news, right? They're more like celebrity anchors or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Chris Cuomo, Tucker,
Nice analogy.
and Hannity, they're the opposite now of what you just said. Because when the riots were happening in the other states with Antifa and BLM and all that, these guys were like totally just shitting on the protesters. Yesterday, it was the opposite, So it goes both ways. Now, I listened to CNN. I never once heard them say they were white supremacists. I don't know. Maybe they did on the episode or the segment you were watching. I never heard that. But, it all depends on who you listen to, because everything you described to me is what I watched on Fox during those riots. And now it's switched. Now CNN's calling these, it goes both ways. It's not just one way. And one more thing, we have to put, I know that Sean keeps saying, I don't want to blame anybody. I don't want to point fingers. But the truth is that President Trump had a rally right before this happened. And he was telling his followers to march onto the Capitol building. The lawyer, what's his name, Giuliani, was saying that they were going to have protests
Trial by combat.
Trial by combat. The Sons were saying that they better go and do something, or they were egging them on. So you got to put
other Republicans as well.
I just didn't want to start off, Renee, being putting people down.
No, but here's the thing: you have to.
We will after.
Point the finger where it started and what originated this. Everybody's already forgetting that this was started by Trump. weeks in advance. He was calling for them to go to Washington. He was, amping them up and saying he was robbed. And, when you got people hyping you up like that and telling you to go to combat, that's going to happen. Things like that are going to happen. Now, what the difference I see between BLM and this is that BLM, they had kids out there. Most of them were peaceful, besides the Antifa guys. And they were getting, Antifa or insecure. I'm going to say that straight up. But the BLM people
They were
that
peaceful during the day. I think at night they got violent. I agree with John.
The looters, they did. The looters and stuff like that. But I'm talking about when they were actually during the day, when they were there, with families and stuff trying to protest. They were getting maced. They were doing a lot of things. And on this one, where were the police? Where was all the security that was there when BLM was there? I don't understand it. It just I'm mind boggled. I don't understand it.
Absolutely. Richard, so you've been out there in the field, you've been in combat, you went and you fought for our rights. You being a retired major, how are you feeling about this?
Sad, a little bit mad. So a combination of sadness, anger, frustration, just all those negative emotions because, I see some people talking about, the government's corrupt and we're trying to take it back and all these negative concepts about our government or America. You see people burning the American flag, not at this Trump rally, but or riot, but you see the Confederate flag in there, right? So that's just, to me, that's equivalent to burning the American flag when I see that in the state capitol. So for somebody like me, it's frustrating because like many other veterans, like when we were out there fighting for our country, when we saluted our flag, when we took that oath, right? In our minds, we were fighting and we are fighting today to make this country better than it's ever been. You understand what I'm saying? Better than it's ever been. So then when I look at people over there in the Capitol, trying to disrupt, destabilize, and most importantly, disrespect our American flag and our American institutions, that right there causes my blood to boil because that's what we're trying to do. Our country isn't perfect. It's never been perfect, but it's getting there. And it's getting there through us and the future patriots. So for me, yes, frustrating, very upsetting, especially.
What do you mean by future patriots? You said that and that stuck out. What do you mean by that?
So I mean like the youth. So none of us. I'm talking about all the people that are in high school right now. All the people that are elementary school, middle school that are seeing this and realize the degree of jackassery that us adults are allowing our country to go. Yes, it's a term we use in the military to kind of make fun of dumb stuff. But they see this and they're just thinking to themselves, God damn, how are these adults so stupid? You understand what I'm saying? Like they see that and they're just like, how could they let this happen? How could they let this be? And then, so anyways, bottom line is frustrated, angry, but I do have hope that as long as we hear one another out, and I love what you're doing, Chris, with this guest that you're going to have. I want to hear her. I want to understand every supporter that was out there and try to find their heart and their mind and embrace it together so we could have a strong freaking country. Enough of this BS.
Right. Richard made a very interesting point. I'm going to go to you, Mike, because this pertains to you for a person who taught high school students for over 30 years. Do you really think that the high school kids are looking at this and are having certain thoughts about all this and judging adults, which you're not a psychologist. I understand that. But obviously you've dealt with youth of high school age for 30 years directly as a profession. What do you think the thought of the youth is? Because you've seen generations of youth. Does that make sense? Did that question make sense, Mike?
Yeah, it does. And I'll tell you, if I was still teaching, in every class, we would have a major discussion about this. And that's one of the fun parts about teaching, is to try to develop a conversation in a class of 35 people and create a comfort zone so that everybody feels comfortable in sounding off. And I don't know, Chris, I don't know what they'd be saying today. I've been out long enough, but I'm not real sure what they'd be saying. I think they'd be surprised. I think they'd be surprised at the amount of power that the president has to compel people to do these kind of things. But I really don't know. I don't feel like I'm in a good position to tell you what the kids would be saying today. I don't think they'd be judging adults. I don't think they'd be judging us as saying, man, what's wrong with you guys? Why don't you have your shit together? But they'd certainly have strong opinions about it. No doubt about that.
I'd like to say something.
Yeah, please.
Something that Richard said. I think that, something that John said also that kind of saddens me, because the American flag used to represent unity, patriotism, a lot of things that made you feel good to be an American, right? And it wasn't until Trump came to power that changed for a lot of people, because the things that Trump represented and did, and his followers represented and did, not all his followers, but a lot of them. And every time they did something that was, in my eyes, negative or didn't represent my views, which I felt were good Republican views, conservative views.
Yeah.
They were holding that flag. It almost became a symbol of bad, right? Bad, like it represented bad, right? So it kind of confuses people, right? So
yeah,
now you look at the American flag and people get upset by that because of what Trump created and what he represents and what his followers made that flag into, right? Now they're not even carrying the
that's
American flag.
ridiculous.
Hold on. Wait.
I'm not done.
Okay.
Now they're not even carrying the American flag.
Yeah,
Now
hold on,
they're
Renee,
carrying
hold on.
a man's name.
Yeah,
Trump.
but Renee, there's just as much bad in BLM as there was in
hold
that
on.
rally
Let's not
yesterday.
even go there yet.
We're not talking about BLM. We're talking about what happened yesterday.
It's the
Okay.
same
That's
thing.
the problem.
Guys,
No, that's
let
the
me try
problem.
to
People
control
wanna
this,
bring
please.
BLM into this. Antifa has nothing to
Renee,
do with that.
It does.
I hear you. Hold on, Sean. I hear you, because the truth is, what Renee is saying, I've seen myself, and I've seen people. I've seen it, and I know right away, John and Sean, right away, two people that never agree on anything, they both shake their heads no. Okay, like right away, two people who never agree. They can't even agree on the color of the sky, but these two agreed on that. Why did these two agree on that? When Renee's like, how many of us on the panel agree with Renee? And this is why it sucks to not be able to see Mike or Anderson. How many of us on the panel agree with what Renee says? I agree with it because
I agree with it.
Which part?
I agree with it because I felt it, dude. I love that flag.
Which part?
the part about that Trump changed the image of the American flag. Okay, well, so then say no. So okay, so far it's 2-2-2-2. Mike, do you agree or disagree?
Well, okay, I agree with a part of it, and I'm not trying to hedge, but the part I
will call you out if you hedge, dude.
Yeah.
I will call you out. Okay.
The part I relate to, Renee, is masking, for example. Okay, it's almost like you if you do not wear a mask, you're a patriot. So I think it goes along with the same concept that you're talking about. This concept of what is a good American and what is a patriot, and it's like, what does that have to do with anything, man? What does that have to do with if you're rejecting certain beliefs, then you're a patriot, and that's part of that flag waving part, I think. So I am agreeing with you, but in a different context.
So I think there was, to what Renee's saying and kind of John and Sean's consensus, it was a trickle effect. You know what I mean? I believe that originally, yes, Renee, with a lot of the rhetoric from Trump, it kind of his followers tried to default to that being a symbol of the Republican Party. You know what I mean? Like it became not just Trump, but like the Republican Party. But then Black Lives Matter too, and some of the left with burning flags, stepping on them and doing bullshit like that.
Because of that.
But they
No.
also but what I'm trying to tell you, it's both. It's
No, but let me
them
say something quick.
pushing and taking advantage, saying that our history is bad and F America and it's oppressed people, and then they're burning flags and stepping on it. And then you got Trump supporters saying, "Low F you, this is America." So it's both. I'm not going to just put it all on Trump, is what I'm trying to tell you. But yes, he did play a role.
What percentage of that group yesterday do you think was really violent in storming the White House? I think it was a very small percentage in general. Very small. And that's the same thing that happens when we watch the BLM movements this past summer. And I more support BLM because they were for deaths, but still, I think it's a very small percentage. So looking at all those supporters who truly believe in what they believe, and I can't fault them for that, I don't look at them all and go, you guys are all crazy and radical. They're not. There was a very small percentage that rushed the Capitol building. And we have to remember that. It's not all Trump supporters are crazy and nutty.
So I got a question for you, Sean, with that, because I agree with you. So what is the good in those people? Like the ones that you're saying that are good, there's always a small percentage too that are good, genuine people, right? What is it that makes them good?
They have the
or maybe
right.
this.
John said the same thing. They have the right to protest. They had the right to march to the Capitol and state their feelings. That's a U.S. given right. The ones that were the problem were the ones that broke through the barrier and invaded the Capitol. Everyone that was there has a right to protest. That's our right.
I think we're missing the point of what Renee said. Okay. The thing that I want to know is, I literally feel what Renee feels. Anderson agreed as well. Mike still didn't really give a clear answer.
Okay. I think the essence of what Renee is saying is the people who are waving the flag are acting as if they're more American than anybody else. That's the point of it, aren't they? That's the feeling I get from Trumpers, is that, hey man, we are way more tuned into America than everybody else is.
They're the only patriots.
Yeah,
but
that's the
that
feeling
too.
I'm getting.
Okay, hold on. Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So what I was trying to say is, see, it's hard for someone that's not, okay. I know when I say this stuff, people that tend to be, how do I put this? Not a person of color. They feel offended by it, right? Or they say, no, right away they want to point the finger another way. Well, BLM this, right? Everyone's starting to do that right away. They're making it about something that it's not about. This is about them thinking that the president was robbed, that them believing all these fake and untruths that were being spread by Trump and his minions. And these people really believe him, and they look at him almost like as a cult leader. That's what I look at.
Okay.
Hold on.
I
Let me
mean,
finish.
the stuff that you're saying is just
Oh, good, we
ridiculous.
got
Everything
John
is
going.
Trump's fault.
Okay,
He's
listen,
some kind of
though.
religious leader. He's got all of us under a spell. We're all
He
just
does.
mindless
He
zombies.
does.
We're going to
Because
carry the
all you
flag and
gotta
say,
do-
oh my
all you
God,
gotta
we're all
do-
the most patriots people in the world. And then we're going to go
Hold on.
smash the hell out of everything. That's
All
all
you
I
gotta
hear.
do is
Trump
fact
is a
check.
cult leader. Trump
All you
supporters
gotta
are
do
just
is
like,
fact check.
just absolutely like the
All
Jim
right,
Jones
so I
people. They're
muted
going to kill
everyone because
themselves.
I'm going to mute everyone.
I mean, this is just
getting
Hold on.
crazy.
absolutely
It's getting too
stupid.
crazy.
All right, I
John,
didn't finish
you're
talking.
muted.
I
Relax.
didn't finish talking.
Renee, relax.
Okay, listen.
Relax,
Let me
guys.
finish talking though.
People are watching us. People want to hear from us. Chill out.
Okay, hold on.
All
Hey,
right,
people are gonna
unmute
like this.
everyone.
It's like Jerry Springer.
Hold on.
Okay.
Can I finish? Can I finish, guys?
John,
What
please
else?
let him just finish his thought, and then please, answer
Okay.
that.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay. All you have to do is fact check, right? Georgia. 66,000 people under the age of 18 voted. Fact is, Georgia did 26 investigations into this. They found 0 people under the age of 18 that voted. 5,000 felons voted. They investigated it. They found 2. Okay. Thousands of dead people voted. They investigated. They found 4. 2 of them were actually people that had the same name as people that died. Look at the facts. Stop believing false news, really.
Okay, let him
Narrative. Okay.
talk.
Okay. Okay. John, go for it. Respond, please.
Still have him
John?
on mute.
Did you say you muted him?
He's unmuted.
Oh,
Can you hear us, John?
Did he
Yeah, I
mute
can hear you
himself?
now. I lost you for
Oh,
a
okay.
second.
There you
Okay.
go.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Your turn.
you're on,
to try.
buddy.
So we keep going back over the same old thing every time, and this is a lot of stuff I saw yesterday that just absolutely makes me sick on the news. Trump is a cult leader. We're all just mindless zombies following him. We believe conspiracy theories. We're all conspiracy theorists. Absolutely, everybody's going to get pissed off the more that you say about that. You know, you guys are all Nazis. You guys are all this. You guys are all that. I'm sorry that, I go and I do research, I read court cases and things like that, and that's where I make my opinion on. But yet you want to tell me, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Oh, you believe all this fake news. You believe all this and stuff like that. It always comes down to that. And then the fact is that I know I'm the only Trump supporter on here. That's fine. But when I hear the same things from you guys over and over again, it absolutely goes nuts. There is, if you want to prove to me that I'm some sort of mindless zombie or that all I do is just follow this guy around, dog and pony show, then you show me the proof and maybe I'll change my mind. But you keep attacking us over and over and over again with this same garbage. Of course we're going to get angry. Of course we're going to do that. My mind right now is blown by 2 things. One is that as soon as this thing happens, Trump's the devil. Trump is the Antichrist. He did this, every bit of it. He incited everybody to go to violence. It was his fault, blah, blah, blah. The only other thing that my mind is blown about right now is that somehow Sean and I seem to be agreeing on 2 different things. And I don't even know what to say about that one.
Yeah.
Well,
John,
first
you
of
know-
all, Sean, hold on. First of all, John, sorry. No one's attacking you, bud. Are people attacking Trump? Yes. But attacking
So
Trump is not attacking
wait. If you say that all the Trump
That's
supporters
his God.
are just following this guy and that he just incites us all to violence, then you're having to make those assumptions. You're having to say that, okay, if all of us are doing that, that includes me, that includes
But
everybody
it
that
doesn't
I
include you, though.
go with
The
those people.
same way that
Well, am I the only
same-
exception then?
I have
No,
a
No,
question.
I'm talking about the people that keep saying that the election was stolen when it's already been proven by 50 court cases that it wasn't.
Okay.
I have a question.
It's like if a quarter falls on the ground and I tell you it's on the ground, and then Trump says no, it's not on the ground, it's not touching the ground, it's
Renee,
floating, and we all know it's hitting the ground.
We hear you. We hear you, man. Okay, real quick, Mike, let me just finish saying something to John.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
Mike come in and then I understand you, Sean. John, no. The same way that we all agree that not all Black Lives Matters were anti-police and all this stuff. No, there are exceptions. Not everyone. Is there a lot? Sure. But that goes both ways. It's equal, the criticism for both sides. Now,
No. The criticism's not. I would absolutely disagree with that.
okay, and a lot of people feel like you too. And this is why we're going to have someone on talking about that. But first of all, I want to make it clear that everyone on here likes you, and we're not saying you're going to be out there breaking windows or sitting on Nancy Pelosi's
Oh,
chair.
no, no way.
Okay,
If
We're
you
not
guys
saying-
want to say that, I'm fine with that. Just show me
but
the
we're
proof.
not going to. So don't even go there. That's not even the point. That's not the point. Mike, please.
Okay, John, you said something early, and it really intrigued my thinking, because one of the things when asked about your reaction yesterday, you said you were really bummed out because it totally took away from what was going on yesterday. Okay, succinctly, please, what was going on yesterday? What was the end game of those people that were there? Were they there just to protest? Can you succinctly or concretely give me an answer about what was expected to be the end game of the protesters yesterday?
To disrupt the election, to disrupt the the certification of the election. That was the goal,
Exactly.
and it didn't happen because
where's
Congress
John?
went back inside.
Yeah, where's John?
I'm back now.
Okay, did you get my question?
If let me repeat it back to you because I kept dipping in and out. I don't know what's going on, but I keep losing you guys. But you
Okay.
asked me what is the end game of something, and then at that point, I lost you.
Of
Okay,
yesterday.
okay, you said earlier today that you were really bummed out about the riot because it totally distracted what was going on yesterday. Okay, so what was going on yesterday? What was the end game for Trumpers in what was going on yesterday? What did they hope to succeed or accomplish?
In the protest?
Why were they there? You said you were bummed that it was that what was going on yesterday was totally derailed. What was going on that was derailed?
In multiple things. So one, I can only give you the ideas behind the people that I know that were there. And then I can give you the ideas of what I thought were derailed. So as far as the protest goes, the number one thing was just to try to get people to listen to the voice and say, hey, we are trying to stand up for our rights. We're trying to stand up for what we think is a rigged election. We're trying to make our voices heard. We're trying to get our message out. The people that I know, and I know two different people that were there, the people that I know, that was the mindset that they had. The mindset that they had was to try to just put that message out there because they don't feel that they're represented fairly in media or on social media or on other things like that. This was the best opportunity for them to do that. As far as what this thing derailed that protest, which really has to do with the election, which has to do with the certification. And the biggest thing yesterday was going to be the objections to the certification. That was the biggest thing in the news. People were going to stand up and say, hey, I object to this. Now, here's the thing. I understand it was going to be a billion to one that anything different was going to happen than Joe Biden getting certified. But it was important for people in Congress that stand up and say the things that they actually believed in, to be able to say, hey, I want to stand up and I want to protest this state. I want to stand up and protest the election results here because I don't trust them. I don't believe them. Now, the odds were probably 1 billion to 1 that anything would have changed as far as that certification goes. But that would have been the message. The message would have been, these people are objecting. These people are for the certification. These people are rejecting the certification. We're going to vote on those things. But as soon as that riot happened, the message for everyone changed. You have guys saying, literally, you have Cory Booker out there saying, well, this is a bunch of white supremacists drumming in there. You have this guy over here throwing out some kind of weird facial recognition stuff. You have this guy over here saying, well, it must have been somebody interfering in that. All of that's gone.
John, there have been 62, I believe 62 cases. I think the American people have got a pretty solid idea that the Trump campaign thought that there were irregularities. That's pretty obvious. Pretty much everybody knew that. Okay. And it went to what we have in our country, a system of justice. Okay. That's what we have. And when you don't like the way things go, you're not satisfied, you can sue someone or you can go to that system of justice. Okay. The Trump campaign went to that system of justice over 60 times. And every time they were turned away. Is that not correct? So far, am I okay? Just as far as this citing the events. Those are events. That's all.
So, no, I wouldn't agree with that, but I would just, I don't know that we want to go down that rabbit hole of the election.
John, there's no rabbit hole. There's no rabbit hole.
They're out there to protest that 74 million people is more than 81 million people. That's what they're out there for.
No,
they're out there to protest.
It's absolutely.
They're out there to protest that 232 electoral votes is more than 306. That's what they're out there for.
That's not what they were out there for.
There was no fraud. We all know that, and you guys keep pushing it.
Yeah, John.
Here's the thing. I wish somebody would have told Trump, his son, and Giuliani, and the other people that are at that rally yesterday what John said. That the only reason they're there is to just, let it be known, this and that.
And
No,
if we're
because
gonna keep
Alright.
going down this
Guys,
path,
guys,
somebody should
hold
have
on.
told
If
Joe
you
Biden
listen
that it's
to-
illegal to take money from China.
see, this is what I
Hold on,
didn't
hold
want
on.
to get into.
Hold on.
This is what I
Hold on.
didn't
Let me
want to get
finish. Let me
Yeah,
finish.
he's turning the
Because-
narrative. That's what he's doing.
No, listen, because
Exactly.
the
Hey
people
man,
that were talking
you guys
yesterday
decide you want to
were
bring up the
screaming,
election. You guys want
were
to decide
screaming,
to blame.
That's the
let's
reason why
take
they-
back our country.
You can't expect me not
Rush
to
the
come back and try to
Capitol.
defend the
This
Okay,
is
people.
stop
all
yelling,
bad.
Renee.
Yet
Renee,
again,
stop
I
yelling.
have to because we are not going to get anywhere talking over each other. I see you, Sean. I see you a million times. You
Yeah,
will
it's
be
his
next.
turn.
Guys, stop talking over each other. Go for it. Sean,
Can I respond?
please.
Or
The
go ahead,
point-
Sean.
The point I'm trying to make, simple point. I don't like to quote this guy, but that suckwad Lindsey Graham last night said it perfectly.
Yeah, he
He
did.
said, you know what? I don't agree with how Pennsylvania's federal court made the decision, but they did, so I have to follow it. I don't agree with this, but I have to follow it. They said there were 10,000 dead people voting. I told them, show me 10. They couldn't show me one. I agree that people don't agree, but it has to come to a point sooner or later that we go, okay, it's done. We have to have a peaceful transfer. We can argue this point out. And again, I don't like agreeing with Lindsey Graham at all because I think the guy's a putz. He's shifted more than he folds easier than a $2 suit. But he said it, I thought, perfectly last night. And I don't like saying that ever about Lindsey Graham. He said it perfectly last night. It's come to the point we just have to agree, even though I don't agree with what they said.
We have to accept.
We have to accept. Even though I don't
Yeah.
agree, we have to accept it. But I do see exactly John's point. I think most people there, and I know, John, this is weird for me to say, most people there, I think, were just to make it known that they didn't agree with the election. Now, why they didn't agree, that's a whole point we can debate out, but it's not worth it because we're going to argue over that. But they didn't feel it was right. Those people, it doesn't make their side any less than our side. It doesn't make us right and them wrong. They felt disenfranchised. If it had gone the other way, would we have felt disenfranchised? Of course. We have to understand that both sides reasonably are the same.
The
That's it.
only difference is that if it happened the other way, we don't have someone that's urging us on to go try to
We don't know
turn the
that.
election.
We don't know that.
Well,
can't
it
say
hasn't
that. We don't
happened.
know
It
what have
hasn't
happened.
happened. It hasn't
You had
happened.
plenty of people on the Democratic Party trying to incite violence. I mean, if you want to go down that route,
Okay.
Go ahead, give me an
So-
example.
go down the route.
So I really don't want to hear his example because it's gonna piss everyone off. Okay, so here's
Thank
the
you for
thing.
not saying
We
rabbit
have-
hole.
Hey, by the way, Trump still hasn't conceded.
I understand,
Nah, who
but
cares?
he
Oh,
no
he did.
actually today.
I thought he
No, he
did.
didn't.
I
No,
thought
he
he
didn't
did.
concede.
No,
He never said he conceded.
dude.
Oh,
He said
what
there's
did he
gotta
say?
be- he
There would be a
never-
peaceful transition?
Yeah,
He
he
did
never
say that.
mentioned Joe Biden. He never said Joe Biden was
You-
now president. He concedes anything.
You guys don't understand Trump. That's what part that gets me. You guys condemn him, but don't understand him. This is
Oh,
where I
poor
agree.
baby.
No,
He
this is
just
where I
can't
agree, John.
understand him.
Dude, he was raised this way. This is his
Oh,
personality.
pobrecito.
And,
Pobrecito.
and you condemn
Sean
him
and
for
John
it.
are gonna divorce her again pretty quick.
No, me and John are actually kind of getting along on some of this conversation.
Let me change his diaper.
Doesn't matter. Oh yeah, like none of the other side are babies.
Oh my God.
Made me laugh that hurt my neck, dude.
well,
Oh
at
my
least
God,
if
you
you get out
guys
of the
make me laugh that
basement
hurt my
and
neck.
hold a rally with more than 50
That's
people,
the
not
Okay,
take
that's
money
the-
okay.
from China, not take money from
Okay,
Russia,
basements.
not
Okay,
take money from Venezuela, not take
talking about Biden
Ukraine,
and
not take
basements.
money from all
John,
the foreign
talking
countries.
about talking
Trump
about
still
Biden and
lost.
basements. Okay, well, I gotta do this. Okay, talking about Biden and basements. We do have a guest here that has thoughts on Biden that I wanted to hear his thoughts out. It was brought to my attention. I want to know if this guy's ready to go or not. Noel, are you ready to go? What's going on, bud? Do you need to call in?
I guess so.
Because he's
I
on
don't
with
think- I
us.
don't think-
He's on mute. That's it. He's just on mute.
Okay.
On mute.
Okay. Let me. Can I say something?
Well, will you mess up his vibe? I don't know.
Hey guys, sorry, can you hear me there?
Yeah, we
There
can hear
we
you.
go.
Okay, the floor is yours. Just tell
No,
us your thoughts. No one's here to attack you. No one's here to argue with you. We just want to hear what you have to say.
Well, I've been cutting in and out. My internet is super slow.
Do you want to call in?
I got a part of your guys' conversation and it keeps cutting in and out. So I'm sitting by right now, just trying to catch up here.
Do you want to call in?
Let me see how this works. Honestly, guys, I'm new to this on Zoom, so I will see how this works. I'm on my phone right now.
Okay.
Well, so far so good. We're hearing you really good.
Awesome.
So Renee was the one who really just typed you up and said, "Hey, I really want this guy on." Renee, would you like to give an introduction to him and tell us why you wanted him here today to share his thoughts?
Sure. Me and Noel are close friends, and he posted something that, and he's, I gotta say, he's not on either side. He's kind of looking this as a neutral person, but he agrees on some of the stuff that from the Trump side, and also agrees on some of the stuff on this side. And he posted a video, and the video was mainly a guy, before Congress or somebody was making a speech about how he knows for sure that Trump was robbed because look at Biden. When Biden has a rally, only 55 people show up. When Trump has a rally, 55,000 people show up. And it was a thing about who's more popular, right? How can Trump lose if he's so popular? And what I told Noel was, what you don't understand, it's not, I don't like Biden. I don't like anything about Biden. To me, Biden is worthless. But it's not about whether I like Biden or not. It's about what direction our country was going. And that's why I chose to vote for Biden and not Trump, because I disagreed with what Trump was doing to this country and what Trump was doing to the Republican Party, tearing it apart. That's why I voted for him. It's not about because Trump's more popular and Biden's not that popular. And a lot of Trump supporters tend to believe that it's impossible that he lost because he's so popular. And they don't understand.
Let's let him go in. So, Noel, we're ready to hear your thoughts.
All right, you guys hear me pretty good?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Like Renee said, it's difficult for someone to really lay it down because the media's got everybody so going with left and right, Republican, liberal, whatever you want to label yourself. And that's really what it comes down to, is people laying down labels. And see, here's the thing, like my family's been, if they want to put a label, Republican most of their lives. And I didn't vote for Trump the first term. I actually didn't vote for Trump or Hillary because I was in a situation where I'm like, I can't go for either or. I ended up actually voting for Gary Johnson. Never have I gone with that party, but I ended up voting for that guy. So now I find myself this year actually voting for Trump. I don't support what he represents. I think he's childish. I think a lot of his antics are childish, and I think he does fuel a lot of the hate into our government. But I like what his intentions were, which is stir up the pot a little bit, expose a lot of these crooked politicians. There was a lot of good that came out of his term. And in my opinion, there is a right time for the right person. And right now, I feel that Trump is the right person. This is the right time for him. I believe Biden's just going to be a puppet. I fear that. I think he's just a puppet. He's not truly going to be our president. They're going to take advantage of him, and they're going to run him up and down. So I felt that Trump is the strongest candidate. Now, what's going on right now, I think it's an embarrassment. I don't think it represents the Republican Party. I'm ashamed to say that it's happening, that I am representing Republican. So I'm having a hard time with this right now. I don't follow.
Noel, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I got a question for you. How do you feel about these people that no longer it's about the Republican Party? It's all about Trump now. They have the Trump flags, they have the Trump hats, and it's kind of like, how do you feel about that?
See, that's the problem. They lost sight of what the Republican Party stands for. And it's not about Trump. This isn't about Trump, and this is what it's been made about. However, we lost sight of what our true purpose is here as a Republican. Trump has got us all losing focus and sight of what this is really all about.
Yeah, I think Don Jr. said it yesterday, which really disturbed me. He said it's no longer the Republican Party, it's the Donald Trump Republican Party, and it shouldn't be. It should be the Republican Party.
Absolutely, you're right. You nailed it.
Can I say something? So,
yes.
To Noel's point, right? you know, again, you guys know where I stand. I'm not a Trump fan. I don't support him, never voted for him, nothing like that. But I listen. I listen to what the Trump supporters feel and think, right? What they feel in their heart and what they think. And to Noel's point is this idea of them being frustrated with a deep state corrupt government, right? We want to all believe that nobody's corrupt, right? Everybody is honest. Every congressman is honest. Everybody's good. They don't lie to us. They do everything in our best interest, right?
I don't think anyone believes that. Does anyone believe that on this
You
panel?
see what I'm saying?
I don't.
Yeah.
So-
I don't think anyone believes that.
So nobody believes that. Therefore, we all recognize the fact that there's corruption. And kind of like what Noel was saying, Trump has been one of those to really call people out on that corruption.
Yeah,
You
but the
never
worst
heard
part about
you never heard Obama saying anything about any corrupt officials. You never heard Bush. You never heard Clinton. You never heard anyone have the courage to call people out on their connections, let's say to China.
You
or-
hear that all the time when the Republicans are blaming the Democrats for something and calling them corrupt, and the Democrats are blaming the Republicans on something and calling them
Well, Trump has been the first person to blatantly call everybody out. And I think
Yeah, but-
for a lot of Trump supporters, they see that as a strong leader that is not cowarding to the political pressures, like career politicians.
Noel, do you see Trump as a strong leader?
Oh, well, as a strong, okay, let me put it this way. If Trump kept his mouth closed and spoke more with his actions, he would have won this election with by a landslide. His actions speak louder than his words. That's his integrity, the way he is. That really, if he just kept his mouth closed, he would have been fine.
No, just his Twitter.
That's it.
Yeah.
But
Same
listen, but
He
listen,
would have
that's
won.
his intentions, his actions. To me, my opinion, actions speak louder than words. And his intentions and his actions, he had the courage to do things that no president has wanted to do for the fact of their reputation and their party. This guy didn't go really Republican or Democrat. I honestly felt, once again, in my opinion, he really wanted to represent the people. Now, understand this. You're never going to please the masses, ever. But this man did something that no president in a long time has done in a long time, which is stood up to a lot of other countries that took advantage of us. And we don't have to go into the detail because most of you guys know what I mean by taking advantage of. He decided, I'm going to bring businesses back to America. I'm going to fuel the American economy. No more of these tariffs and taxes and all this stuff out to China. And as far as people saying he's in cahoots with Russia, I didn't see anything in 4 years that Russia benefited for him being in there. I'm really surprised this president wasn't assassinated for all the crap that he pulled. But I think his actions were I don't want to say just, his actions were in the best interest of the American people. Now, like I said, you're not going to please the masses. I'm not going to get everybody like, oh yeah, well, he did this and he did that. Yeah, some people are going to suffer. But I think his long-term actions, there was going to be something there for us. I think he had a plan, a good
What
plan.
about the dealing with the coronavirus? What are your thoughts on that?
You're setting me up here, aren't you? No, look.
We don't do that. We don't do that.
No, look. Honestly, I would love to be able to give you a good answer on that, but I don't have enough education on that. I have not been up on the news enough on that. I can only feed you the conspiracies that I've heard. So do I feel that he was in cahoots with that? No. Do I think China sabotaged our economy because he put so much pressure on theirs? Remember, guys, there was an economic war between America and China. There wasn't a war like a traditional war where we send our troops up there and go to war with them. This was an economic war that Trump took to their doorstep. And when he took that war to their doorstep, we were in battle with them for almost a year. We were killing it. They were suffering. Their people were suffering. I didn't feel a thing here. As a matter of fact, the little investments that I had in stocks, God, they were doing great.
Our
I was
farmers
doing
did.
good. So
Yeah.
what I'm getting at though,
Oops.
it was an economic war we were with China. I honestly feel, and once again, my opinion, just the way what I
Fine,
feel
that's
with the
what we're
little bit
asking
that I
for.
know, is that this war he took to China, that's why China released the COVID. Now, I'm probably wrong, but that's my opinion.
Wait, hold on. You said,
Yeah,
hold on,
you
wait,
are
hold on.
wrong.
Well, hold on. We could be wrong, and it's okay. Who cares? The thing is, you said China released the virus intentionally. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's what
That's
I
exactly
gotta
what
That's
he
a
said.
popular conspiracy. Very
No,
popular
no.
conspiracy.
Hold on. Let him answer. He's the man who knows.
No, that's the thing. Remember, I told you, I'm not the man who knows. This was my humble
Yeah,
opinion.
that's what I mean by you're the one who knows your opinion. Everyone else
Yeah.
can answer for you. Is that what you're saying?
Now, and you know what? Let's not. I think they knew what they were dealing with.
Okay.
Was it an intentional release? Let me back that up. Let
Okay.
me retract. Not an intentional release, but I think they had an intention to release at one point or another, not the way it blew up in their face. Does that make sense?
John, do you hear what Noel is saying here, and how do you feel about some of the things he has to say? You are a true Trump supporter that we don't believe is attacking America or destroying the Constitution or a traitor. None of us believe that of you. What do you feel?
I would agree with most of what Noel said.
What wouldn't you agree with?
The biggest thing I would disagree with is two things. Number one, that if he had kept his mouth shut, that he would have won by a landslide. I disagree with that because I think that you never have to wonder where he stands on a position. You never have to guess because he is for damn sure going to tell you what he thinks. And that's just the way he is. I appreciate that. I appreciate people who I don't have to judge and be like, okay, I don't know what this guy's thinking. The other thing that I would disagree with is that he lost by a landslide.
But if you have to wonder what someone's thinking every 30 seconds on Twitter, that's what makes it bad. I think if he hadn't done Twitter, John, I think he would have had a great chance of winning. The guy has done a lot of good things for the U.S. No one can deny
But if
that.
all you're going to judge a president on is what his Twitter is, you're not going to judge him by the actions that
Because it's
either
how he projects
or
himself to
doesn't
us in the world.
then
So-
Well, John,
in other
John,
words,
okay,
John,
for
you-
example, a Twitter, for example, John, okay, when the BLM was attacking the federal buildings, he tweeted out, total disgrace of American behavior, minimum sentencing, 12 years for doing that. I didn't hear him say that yesterday when they were
Guys,
attacking the federal building.
this
our-
is Noel's
our-
segment, by the
our
way.
Capitol building.
Let's try to direct that to Noel. This is Noel's segment. Noel,
So,
because
so
I
that's
would
the
go
kind
on
of
about what-
I would
hypocrisy.
literally go on for an hour. In a
I-
row.
That's the kind of
understand that.
hypocrisy.
No
Noel.
That's the kind
filibustering.
of hypocrisy that he did that probably got him in trouble more than anything. Right?
Okay,
That kind
Mike,
of thing is what. he's
let's
talking
try
about.
to let's try to direct this to our guest. Noel, what do you feel about what happened yesterday?
It's a disgrace, to be honest with you.
Complete disgrace. Do you
We've
feel
always-
like
no, listen, I mean, John, I mean, you can think what I'm about to say, but listen, the Republicans have always been known as a silent majority. They've always been more of, I wouldn't say peaceful, but silent. Get the job done, show your actions, not by words. I think those people that went out there, it was disgraceful what they did. I mean, that was more of a liberal action, and I hate putting labels on things, but let's just face it, guys. The Liberal Party has always been more of the crybaby party. They've always been the ones
Oh,
that, I mean, but they have.
that's
I mean,
good. Go.
but I'm not. No, I'm not trying to say it in a sense where I'm trying to start a fight here. And I'm just being.
I agree with
I'm
that.
thinking back like this. Look, John brought up a point. He said that when I mentioned that if Trump would have just kept his mouth shut, he would have been better off, right? He would have won by a landslide. What I mean by that, John, is let's say if Trump was a great speaker, like say Ronald Reagan. I mean, the man knew how to speak, and that's why he got things done. Same thing with Clinton. Clinton didn't get shit done. He just knew how to speak. He was riding off the coattails of Ronald Reagan. But the fact is, he was at the right place at the right time, and he knew how to talk, and he was a charmer.
well, you know
Same
that
thing
there
with
was
Obama.
Bush before.
Obama
You know,
was a-
hold on, Noel. You know it went
Yeah.
Reagan, Bush, okay, H.W. Bush, then Clinton, right? You do know there
Yeah,
was a
but
Bush in the middle, right?
Bush was in there for 4 years, and Bush was dealing with
Yes, he
Desert
was.
Storm. He didn't really get a Bush Senior. I'm sorry, Bush Senior was
Hey,
in
that's
there
fine.
for the whole-
His initials are H.W. as well, by the way.
Yeah,
But go ahead.
for 4 years, right? He was in there for 4 years, started a war, right? Got it. So I mean, the guy didn't do a whole lot. I mean, I don't think he wanted to run the second term. I don't remember correctly. Was it Al Gore? Guys, help me out here. After Bush.
After senior was
Clinton, right?
Clinton. And Clinton
There was
then
senior was
eight.
Clinton for 2 years,
Okay.
and then it
But
was
who
Bush.
was
Four,
who was
W.
Bush
two
running
terms,
against?
2 terms.
2 terms, yeah.
2 terms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Senior was running against Clinton. What
Okay, but what's
sunk-
you
was
were
sunk
saying
Clinton-
about speaking?
Yeah, no, he said that Clinton ran on the coattails of Reagan.
No, but
and
you're
I don't
beginning to
believe that.
say Obama. What were you going to say about Obama?
But hold on,
Once
buddy.
again,
Hold on,
once
buddy.
again-
I just
Yeah,
want
who
to
cares about that?
clarify
Once again-
our history. I just want to clarify.
Once again, my point being with presidents such as Clinton and Obama, okay, they had swagger. Let's just face it, guys. They had a sense of swagger. These guys knew how to talk and connect to the American people. That's just it. They knew how to talk. Okay. As
Like
far as
Mitch.
getting things done, and once again, in my humble opinion, Chris, I'm not trying to start a fight, but in my humble opinion, I don't think they got as much done, nearly as much as President Trump did in 4 years. Unfortunately, Trump does not know how to communicate. Now, we all know words are powerful, and communicating with people is very powerful and persuasive. Gosh darn, look at Hitler. How did he get people to follow that, people that weren't even his own race, and do what he did? Because of words and power, right? So Trump didn't have that. But my point being is, if he knew how to communicate and connect, this guy would have had no problem being reelected. That's what I meant, John, by he should have just kept his mouth closed.
I got something to say real quick.
Actions.
I got something to say.
Go for
So,
it.
all right. So here's the thing. America right now, they need a leader that can speak, someone that can unite, someone that can encourage people, someone that can bring people together and have a good form of speaking and talk to the American people, not tweet to the American people, talk to the American people, get this coronavirus under control and move forward and get respected back with the rest of the world, get respect back. That's right now, we need someone like that. So Trump being gone to me is a blessing.
Well, let's
Maybe we
pray
can
it's
get back
Biden.
on track.
But Renee, remember, we
Joe
had
Biden
that.
is not the man to do anything.
But
that
there's
you
only
just
one of
mentioned.
two. It's either Trump or Biden, and Biden's the choice now.
Here's
You
the
don't
thing,
know
Biden-
that,
hey,
John.
I don't care if Biden is a puppet, as long as he could read a telecom and he could talk and bring people together. That's what we need right now. That's what we need now.
You know what? We need a good speechwriter. I think that's what we need.
Yeah, that's what we need.
No
I wish
Muppet
Trump
has ever
would've
been
had that.
elected to the presidency of the
I
United
wish
States.
Trump had a good writer where he could just stand in front of the camera like he did today. Oh man, what a beautiful speech he did today.
Yeah, but he
His
had one.
speech
He
was
wouldn't
really
have-
good.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey,
Trump's
Renee.
speech was really good today.
Hey, Renee, if Trump had it, he wouldn't have read it anyway. He's that kind of guy. Like, no, I'm going to
Well,
say
he
things
read
my
it
way.
today.
So
Today he was a puppet because
That's
nothing that he said today he meant nothing.
Oh, you can tell when he has prepared speeches that he actually reads.
So
Yeah,
here
today
is-
was one of them.
I think Renee makes a good point in stating this. Words matter and speech matters.
Mhm.
It's just
guys-
it's just as important as actions. That's a
Christopher,
fact. Yes, sir.
Christopher, we've
Yes, sir.
had that though, sir. We've had that. We had
With
that
who,
with
Obama?
Clinton, and we had that with Clinton, and we had that with Obama. They were great. They were great speakers. They had great communications with our foreign leader. I mean, with foreign leaders. They were. That's what they were. Schmoozers. That was
And they
awesome.
both got us out of depressions. Both of them got us out of an economic depression.
No,
Both of them.
they did.
No,
Check your
that's
facts.
where
Oh
I
my
was
God.
telling you they were writing.
Come
the
on, John.
coattails of-
Oh
your
my
facts.
God.
Listen, you guys. Listen, just for a moment. Keep an
Clinton
open
was the
mind on this.
last
Okay, hold
time-
on. No,
Chris,
The
what?
last time we had a balanced budget was under President Clinton.
The
Look it
president
up.
does not write legislation. The president either
Thank you,
signs
John.
or
All
right,
vetoes
what were you gonna
legislation. The balanced budget of America was written by the Republican
It
Congress
was a
and then
it was
sent
a
over
cooperation.
to
Yes.
the president, who at the time, yes, was Bill
Yes.
Clinton, who signed it.
Yes.
Either
Basically because
approves
he
or
didn't
disapproves.
approve, he would
It
have
was a
lost too many poll
cooperation.
points.
It was
Mute
a
'em. Mute 'em,
cooperation
Oscar.
between the president
Congress-
and the Republican
Congress
Thank you
Party.
very
That's
much.
the
Now it's time
legislation
for
in first
plugs,
reading.
ladies and gentlemen. Plugs. I would like to plug in 2 wonderful shows that Sake Productions has. First, with Amateur Pros, with the starting host of Anderson Melendez, his sports show, Amateur Pros, which you get every Wednesday of every week. Anderson, tell us a little bit about your show.
It's a sports show. Pretty cool.
You're so stupid, dude. Also, let's not forget about Scottish Clans, our podcast friends with Scottish Clans, and also let you know that we'll be cross-promoting with 10 other podcast shows. Woo! So I need each one of you on the panel to do a commercial for us because I don't want Anderson to be doing a bunch of commercials. Also, I want to announce to the world, open invitation to all of our listeners. Our latest game show called Pod Crushers. Pod Crushers will be hosted by the one and only Sun Tzu. Pod Crushers is a game show that is a mixture between Judge Judy and Jeopardy, where 2 friends or frenemies argue and debate. And Judge Sun Tzu gets to decide if one could fact check or not, or gets to decide if one argument is relevant or not. Pod Crushers.
As long as it's not about the election, you know which way Sunsil's going to go.
Yeah,
So is this
exactly.
a comedy show? What is it?
It's a game show. It's a game show where it's open invitation to everyone. If you could win 5 debates in a row, we have prizes like a PlayStation 5 to give out. So it's really exciting. It's really fun. It's a brand new game show that I think is going to be a hit. And I think having Sun Tzu at the helm of it is going to be amazing and perfect.
Should be the new
PlayStation
Alex
5.
Trebek.
I can't even find one. How you find
Hey,
one?
can you put a red nose and a rainbow wig on her?
New Alex Trebek of game shows.
Oh man.
So
Come
Sun
on,
Tzu is going to
come
be amazing. Noel, thank you very much for your segment, sir. Please stay in and listen to the show. We're going to bring in our next guest. We have someone that was actually there at the Capitol, at DC. She was there, and she is going to tell us her perspective of everything. The panel does know about this person. We are not here to attack anyone. If something said that we don't disagree with, I see ya. I'm gonna bring them on. Does anyone need water real quick before we get this next guest? Or are we all good?
We're good. Let's get this party
Okay.
on.
All right, here we go. Our next guest will be Monica, and to protect her, we also have Sun Tzu in the room.
Yeah.
Hi, it's a pleasure to have you on, Monica. I'm really excited to
Hi.
have you on. I've been following you for a while now. It was really exciting to see you and Sun Tzu at the DC Capitol. I've been also following your guys' posts on Facebook. You have a lot to say, and I know you felt that a lot of the media were exaggerating on things. So I really want to hear what you guys have to say. Again, no one's here to attack you. If there is something that you do say that might have one of us question, please understand we're just trying to clarify what you're saying. And we also want to make sure that, you were not a looter or a rioter or an insurgent or nothing like that. You were there for something you believed in. And we're happy to have you on, okay?
Thank you for having me.
We're just waiting for your buddy here to connect. Do you want to wait for her, or do you want to go ahead and start with what you have to say?
Oh, it's up to you guys how you want to do it. Is she Sun Tzu, or is that who you're talking
Yeah,
about?
that's what I'm talking about. She's
Yeah.
connected right now.
Okay.
She has probably in a place with bad reception.
Slow
Okay.
connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can go ahead and start.
Okay.
Don't wait.
Okay, so please, you were there. Can you tell us about getting there and some of the things you experienced? The floor is yours.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm trying to think. Basically, I'm not really sure where you guys want me to start. You guys have like any specific questions? Because that's kind of getting there, like as in traveling or
what was your purpose in going, or what was the overall vibe that you got from everybody that was there?
Okay. Well, for me, I have in the last year or so, I just kind of got tired of feeling like I needed to stay quiet about what my political, beliefs were or whatever. It just kind of happened through coronavirus, and I just kind of started voicing my opinion more and that kind of thing. So that's kind of where it all started. And then I started going to rallies. I went to a walkaway rally, and I started going to and I went to that one in LA, and then I went to the one in DC back in October with Sun Tzu. And then when the election hit and there was evidence of when the fraud started, the fraud started coming out, that kind of thing, I just kind of started picking up a little bit more, going to things and speaking out about things. And so I went to the first Million MAGA March after the election. And then this one came up, and I was like, didn't want to miss it because, I really wanted to go support the president, and I wanted to be able to let my voice be heard. And so that's why I decided to go to this one.
Can you please tell us what the president means to you?
The president, it's kind of interesting because I think that with President Trump is probably the first time that I really felt a connection to a president. And it might just be the time in my life or the period in my life or the stage that I'm at. But, my daughter, she's going to be 15 soon. And so she was a little bit older. I had a little bit more time on my hands to actually follow the president and what he was doing and, the things that he was doing for our country. And so when he became president, I started going, watching everything live that I could. And then throughout the pandemic, I watched every coronavirus update every single day. I looked forward to it. And I watched every press briefing that I could. And I really tried to hear things live so that I could hear it straight from their mouth instead of listening to any news. I really didn't watch Fox News. I really didn't watch news. I pretty much just started doing my own research and reading articles and things. So through that, I feel like I loved our president before, but in this last year, I really felt that I started to know him more because I actually put the effort into getting to know him and who he was as a person. So to me, the president, I love our president. And it's crazy for me to say that because I'm not a person I don't have a favorite team. I don't follow sports. I'm not one of these fans that goes to baseball games and football games. I never had posters on my walls as a teenage kid. I just am not one of those people. So for me to have this love for for a stranger, because that's really what he is. I've never met him before in my life. But for me to have a love for him was something that I never expected to feel. So to me, I feel like the president loves our country, and that because he loves our country and because he's put a lot of, he set aside his life to serve our country for the last 4 years. And to me, when someone sacrifices.
So I'm sorry, Monica,
It's okay.
So similar. So we have John here. I don't know if you follow the show or a lot or not.
I haven't been able to, no.
Okay, so Sean here, earlier on today's episode, we were in discussion about what the American flag used to mean and what it means now after Trump. And there was something said, there was some division drawn, and John felt, he goes, you know what? I feel like everyone clumps Trump supporters as this evil clan of people. Do you share that similar feeling as he did? When people find out you're a Trump supporter, do you feel like right away you're like, geez, someone's going to hate me. Someone's going to think I'm a racist. Someone's going to think I'm this or that. Do you feel that same persecution?
Yes. I can say that probably 100%. That's how I feel. I think I kept quiet for the last 3 years because of it. I didn't feel like I could voice my opinion without people attacking me. I know quite a few people who feel the same way. In fact, I feel like that's how we became the whole silent majority. That was never a thing before President Trump, because a lot of us felt that way. And a lot of people would find out that I supported President Trump, and they would shy away from me, or they would make a comment, or, you know, I never felt like I could wear a Trump hat. Like, I couldn't wear a Trump hat. I still won't wear a Trump hat. I won't fly a Trump flag on my balcony. I won't put a bumper sticker on my car, because people
Shouldn't.
do things when, you know, people follow you home, you know.
Hey, I'm curious to, like, what do you feel that Trump has done that's really inspired you, like moved you to the point of having a sense of love for him? Like, what are the things that he's doing differently that you haven't seen any other president do before him?
Well, you know what? I can't really say that I can't really say that President Trump has done something for me that no other president has done for me, because I have not followed, and to be completely honest, I have not followed politics, like I said, up until in the 4 years of President Trump is when I started kind of following things. I did follow a little bit when President Obama was in office, but I was super busy. That was when my daughter was really little. I was working full time, and I really just didn't have a lot of time to put into it. I didn't. The things that I knew about President Obama, I didn't really like, but I didn't have any kind of hatred for President Obama either. I didn't. I didn't really like him because of just like some of the instances that would come up that I saw. But again, that was just because the news, right? I didn't really have the ability to and the time to do what I've done with President Trump.
So what had you seen with Trump, though?
I'm sorry,
Like,
Richard, hold on real quick. So now it's time to get to the nitty gritty. Okay, you and Sensu flew to DC. You flew there to support your president, correct?
Correct.
Do you feel that the presidency was stolen from President Trump?
I do.
What was your intention of being in DC besides just supporting your president? Like, what do you feel you and the rally could accomplish?
For me personally, it was A, yes, I wanted to support our president. But B, I wanted to raise my voice. I wanted to show solidarity with as many other supporters of President Trump as possible, to show that we want a fair election. Okay, like, so to give us the opportunity to have investigations, because nobody gave us that. Nobody took the time to actually do a thorough investigation. And we didn't get that. And there is a lot of information out there that
I'm sorry. So a lot on this panel will say there were series upon series of court cases, but I understand what you're saying. I just want to make, because I know some of these people on the panel here.
I know.
To say that.
I know Georgia did a very thorough investigation. As a matter of fact, they had a press conference that debunked every single theory that Trump had out there. So why can't that just be accepted? Why can't you just admit the loss and move on?
What court case was that?
Why should
No, it
we
wasn't a
believe
court
when the
case.
criminals
Okay.
exonerate themselves?
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay. So
President Trump said,
Chris,
yes, Sensu, go for it.
Chris,
Go for it, Sensu.
did you guys hear the phone call with the Secretary of State and Trump?
We did.
In that phone call,
Uh-huh.
he admits not releasing information and actually asked you to not share that information with Trump. So they are not privy to their findings, which means there's no one watching over the way that they're that they're investigating this whole thing.
Oh
So
my
again,
God.
So
it's
I
but
no, that
I
makes
it's in
lost
the
some of
phone
that.
call.
Can you
It's in
explain?
the phone call.
Got broken up.
What?
A
you
lot of what you said got
yeah,
broken
you
up. Sorry.
it got broken up.
Okay. No, so in the phone call with the Secretary of State of Georgia, because Renee's saying that it's been debunked. Well, I don't know how he can say that if if
They
he's
had a
listening to
press
the phone
conference
call.
about it.
Renee, but in the phone call, they're admitting that they have not released any of their investigative.
They released it
material
during the
at all.
conference.
So let me
They
go
released it
with,
during the press
let
conference.
They
me go
didn't
with
release it
Monica.
during the conference.
Monica,
You know
so
what?
The
Mon-
phone
Mon-
call was just January 5th. When did they have this press conference that you're
Right
speaking
after.
of?
okay,
Right after.
Okay,
so
well, let me tell you.
Monica,
There's no way.
I would like to
Monica,
respond to
hi.
Renee actually regarding
Okay.
that, because you can't just release information. You have to actually give them documents that they themselves can go over and investigate.
And
You can't
audit,
just
yeah.
go, we're going to have a press conference. It's going to be a 15-minute press conference and we're going to tell
Exactly.
you. No, that
Mhm.
okay, tell me how that's going to show the truth. Give me documents,
No
give me
matter
figures, give me
if
numbers.
documents were shown, you guys would still not believe it.
See,
Okay,
Renee,
and it
but
doesn't
but
matter
that's
what
your
we
go-to,
find, you
though.
guys
That's
are not
so
Monica,
gonna believe it.
un-American. That is so
Monica,
un-American
Monica,
for
Yes,
Renee to say
I'm
that.
going back
when
to you.
you
Yes,
guys,
Chris.
How much? Hey,
when
Chris.
you, oh Jesus,
Chris-
dude.
Go
Yeah.
ahead. Sorry. Go
Okay,
ahead, Christopher.
Monica, when you guys were at the rally
Mhm.
and you guys started to like, did you all decide, were you with a group that decided to march to the Capitol, or did you decide to march to the Capitol because President Trump suggested it?
Oh, the plan all along was to go to the Capitol.
Was to go to the Capitol. Yep.
Yep.
Okay,
We
so
were, the
you
plan
guys
was
never
that we
felt,
planned.
yeah, you guys never felt urged by President Trump to march to the
Mm-mm.
Capitol.
Nope.
Chris, we
The-
didn't fly all the way to DC from Southern California, single moms, and pay for airfare and a hotel just to go watch him speak. We could do that live on,
Yeah.
on any social media.
Yeah.
It was to protest. That was the
Okay.
intention.
And let me tell
When-
you, I couldn't even hardly hear what the president was saying because
Yeah,
there were
sure.
so many people there and we were so far back. I could hardly hear what President Trump said. The plan when we got there was to go to hear President Trump.
Yes.
And then after that, we were going to the Capitol. That was the plan from the beginning.
Monica.
And to piggyback on that, that's why it's upsetting to hear people, whether on this panel or, nationwide, saying that he's the one who incited all of this, when that's absolutely not the truth. And they're just
Well,
going off of
there's videos online of people saying that yes, we're gonna follow what the president says, march forward, combat. There's
They
actual
said we're
videos
going
of
to
that.
follow what the president says.
Yes, I
They said
posted one on
those
my page.
words.
So
Yep,
so
they're taking credit
Monica,
for it.
so Monica, did you feel there were fellow Trump supporters agitated at that rally to the point of causing some type of mayhem in the city?
No. Okay, let me tell you, the people in our area, I can only speak for the people that were in our area and that were around us, right? So
Right.
the people that we were around, there was no talk of let's go, storm the doors of the Capitol. Let's go cause mayhem in the streets. There was none of that. There was none of that. People
I
were
believe that.
excited to be there. People wanted to hear our president. They wanted to support our president and our country. They want fair elections. They want free elections, and they do not want our country to turn to a communist country. That is the
I got
things
a
that I've
question
heard.
for
Hold on,
both
I
of
got a
you.
question too.
Come on, I got a question.
God.
No, Renee, you've had enough.
Come on, Renee, mute him.
Hey, don't tell.
All right,
Sean, please.
quick question.
Please,
So-
dude, stop drinking, please.
No, let
Okay,
us have a
so-
question,
Come
Renee.
on, that was dirty, dude.
Let us have a question.
Richard, go ahead.
Monica and
Well,
Sunsi.
every time I
Are
say
you-
something, guys, stop screaming. You had enough. Hey, I'm here to talk, dude.
Okay.
So are
okay.
we.
Okay,
All right, so then
Monica.
talk.
we are a
Monica,
team, right?
mute Sean and Renee.
Okay,
And
go ahead.
Renee now. Hey, so question, just for our listeners here. So Monica and
All of a
Sunsi,
sudden, he grew balls or something.
Oh, come on, Richard, go for it. Go for it, Richard, please.
are you both women of color?
Yes.
Yes.
You're both women of color. You're both, strong, hardworking women. mothers, right? And you said you
Yes.
paid for hotel, flight, and everything to go out there.
Right.
What is it? Because a lot of people want to say Trump supporters are racist, white supremacists, etc., and you don't fall in that category whatsoever. So you're not that stereotype.
Right.
Neither
is
do
it-
most people.
What is it that is great about your movement and your belief in the president? Like, what is the rest of America not seeing about the good in your cause? You know what I'm saying?
I'll say one thing. One thing that I commented to Monica when we were marching was the Blacks for Trumps, Latinos for Trumps, just the diversity and the people who support him was unbelievable, that it actually like made me more proud of him and our country, because it's been proven through statistics that he has broadened the support for the Republican Party, and now everyone gets to ride on his coattails, right? But the point is being that everyone has tried to push that narrative that he is racist, the proof is in the pudding. He has broadened the support, and it's so diverse. It's a beautiful sight, and that's what every American should want to see. And that's what makes me really proud of him, is that he has beat down all of those boundaries and all of those rumors and all of everything that people try to put up about him.
So
And there's also
I
proof
agree.
that 74 million voted for Trump and 81 million voted for Biden.
So, Monica, I want to
All
ask you.
right.
I want to ask you a question. First, thank you very much for your respect, because you said President Obama, President Trump. I think that's what respect is for our presidents and former presidents.
Right.
But the thing I would like to ask you is, what is your opinion of the group that actually stormed the Capitol, and Sun Tzu too? I mean, what is your feelings of that group?
My feeling of that group is that they did more damage than they did good.
Yes.
It honestly hurts me to see that happened. I think that that's absolutely not okay. I would never condone any kind of violence, any kind of destruction. That is our house, our capital. It belongs to America. And for a group of people, I don't care who it is, to go in and violate our capital is 100% wrong. By going in without permission, they were trespassing. They committed a crime just by doing that. So that right there, that's not okay. I would never condone that. I don't care who it is.
That's actually, to me, the perfect answer. You guys have the right to protest. You have the right to march, but I think you're exactly right. They didn't have the right to invade the Capitol. So thank you. I
Right.
respect your opinion very much on that.
Thank you.
Don, did you get a chance to see the video that was posted, whether on hers or on my Facebook page? We actually have video where you'll hear Monica's voice, mostly just telling the people that we saw inside of the Capitol breaking into the window.
I saw that actually.
Yeah.
Tell them to get out of there.
Right, and a lot of us
told
were
them to
telling
get
them
out.
to stop. And
then when they didn't, she went and asked you to jam. You're like, let's go.
Yes.
All your names.
No, I agree. You guys
Yeah.
were awesome. It was
Exactly.
great.
Well,
The
and so
reason-
Monica, the point of me bringing that up is that I feel like we represent most of those supporters. I really do. And so what's sad is that because this happened, this one event, happened, it's like now it's being painted like Trump supporters are cult followers. They're just there to destroy
terrorists.
things.
Sun Tzu, you missed our
just everything.
You missed our comments earlier, Sun Tzu. I said the same thing. I said it's only a very small percentage of people that were radicals. It's kind of like when the BLM movement, most of them were peaceful until it got nighttime. Then a very small radical group destroyed everything. And that was the same thing about this protest. Most of them are good people. They believe what they believe, but a small group, it makes them all look bad.
The one thing that I will say though to you, Sean, is you're right. But the problem with us with this specific situation is we don't think that they were all Trump supporters, that they were real Trump supporters. There was a guy that was there and he's been interviewed. His name is John Sullivan. He's part of the Insurgents USA, group or whatever. He comes out of Utah. He's been to all these different things. And if you go onto his website, he actually talks about how they're like a consultant company and they're there to help movements basically get ahead of the game so that they're able to outsmart you know, whether it's police and, you know, anyone that would hold him accountable. And it's just interesting because he supports BLM and Antifa. And it really goes to show the brain power that it's taken for them to, you know, like you guys have said, BLM, it was a movement, right? I agree with that. And then they started to say, when things started to the rioting, the looting, what did they say? Antifa came in and was sabotaging their movement, right? Right. Sounds like a great mastermind plan, you know, for that to happen. And then look what happened yesterday.
Well, I totally agree with you, Sun Tzu, but the one person that was killed was a diehard Trump supporting QAnon lady that was breaking into the House chamber where the House were barricading in place because they couldn't get out. So I'm not saying there wasn't Antifa or BLM there, but there was Trump supporters there. Same as at the BLM movement.
Yes, you're right. But the thing is, did you know that John Sullivan said that he was standing right next to her and he saw her get shot, which is interesting because if he's not a Trump supporter, he's someone who is consulting with BLM and Antifa. It begs to question like what part he had in all of that, you know,
Is that the gentleman of color? Or is that with that gold tee? Is that who you're talking about? Is that the gentleman that was there next to her? Because I know there was a documenting crew that was there. There was a crew documenting, and I saw them.
Yeah, I saw the whole video.
He wasn't an official crew, so he actually went in with his phone. And when they were covering him on Channel 2 News in Utah, because he's from Utah, the journalist said, interesting, because I'm a journalist, I've done this for years, and I've never climbed through a window to get a story, because he was with the group, and he said he climbed through the window and claiming to just try and document
No one made it through the window. She tried to get through the window and got shot.
John.
No, they were inside.
So you know what's
They were
interesting
inside.
about
They
that?
were inside.
Hold on real quick, guys. Hold on. Hey, John, can you hear me? Or are you cutting in and out?
I can hear you.
Or how are you feeling, buddy? Because you look bored.
I'm not bored.
Okay.
This situation, I'm not going to be happy about this whole situation.
Good.
I told you guys in the beginning.
None of us are happy.
This is a horrendous situation. We had complete loss.
Five lives lost, by the way.
Yeah.
One police officer.
We had a complete loss of everything that was trying to be accomplished yesterday. Trying to get just a message out saying we don't agree with this election, we don't agree with this process, and not trying to start a coup, not trying to do crazy stuff, not trying to start destruction, not trying to do everything like that. Has lost that lady. You know what? She lost her life.
Sad.
I absolutely
unnecessary.
I absolutely, you know, there's nothing here. There's no part of this situation that should make us happy or hooray or whatever. There may be somebody cheering out there, but it's not somebody who has any sort of sanity.
I hope not.
Okay,
The problem is the House was defending. There were House representatives in the House chamber that couldn't get out when the riot starting. There were two ways in. The front door they had barricaded, and the back from the speaker's entrance, which is where these people tried to break through. And the agent was sitting there telling them, back up, back up, back up, pointing their gun. And she went through the window, even though they kept telling her back up. I mean, I feel bad for the girl. She was a 14-year Air Force veteran. I'm a veteran.
Yeah.
You know, I feel bad that this had to go this far.
And, you know, and here's my thing about her too. And this is absolutely not justifying her being there and going in there, you know. But here's the problem is that when you get these agitators in there, and I do believe that some of these people that were in there were agitators. They were trying to get people to follow them. They were purposely agitating a group of people that are passionate. And you know, and again,
mass hysteria, like a fever that ran through it like a wildfire.
Taking anyone who's, you know, already maybe just very passionate, like the people that were there. By the time we got there, I mean, a lot of stuff apparently had already been going on by the time we got there. But you know, so she's following, right? And she's a veteran. She served our country. And so it's really sad to see that she ended up dying, you know, she ended up dying needlessly, but in her heart, whatever was going through her brain, you know, she goes in there because she's upset, or I don't know what she's thinking. None of us really know what she's thinking, but she went in there and she ends up getting killed. and it's a hero, someone that fought for our country, someone that served our country, and she died. And to me, it's sad. To me, it's horrible to see that
is.
any death.
So
And a police
let's-
officer, I guess a police officer died.
Yeah,
I've
he
been
died today.
traveling today, and
Yeah,
I have not
it's
heard
understandable.
much of anything.
It
All
is
the
sad, but they
people
have to
that
be able to
died.
defend the house. When people are
Right?
barricading
No.
in place there, they have to be able to defend it. You know, because you
Let's-
can't have people coming in and hurting the House of
Let's end
Representatives.
at that
Sean-
note,
Sean,
guys.
did-
We're over time. Let's end at that note. I would like to thank Mr. Noel for coming in and sharing his thoughts. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. Thank you so much, Monica.
Thank
I know
you
you're
for-
You're welcome.
traveling.
You're welcome.
Thank you guys. Thank you everyone. I want this show to represent a safe space for everyone. We are not here to bash on Trump supporters, even though
No.
we've been accused by that. And not all Trump supporters are evil, Nazis, because no one believes that. We do believe there are bad ones, like there's bad ones of like BLM and everywhere else. Okay.
Right.
And when we're not here to be enemies. We're here to talk it out. John, are you good enough to do the outro or? Okay, let's do the
John,
outro.
smile.
No, he's not going to. He made it clear from the beginning. There's nothing he's happy about this.
There's no
Ready,
smile.
John?
Look at he's fighting it. Look at.
Thank you for listening to We Could Be Wrong. This was a tough topic that we all got involved in today. I would just like to encourage everyone to sit back and look at this situation objectively and pray for America. Pray for the president, pray for the vice president, pray for everybody who's in authority in this, pray for the families that lost lives, lost loved ones, and pray for the families that had to deal with some tremendous issues this week. Again, thanks for Monica and Sun Tzu and Noel joining
Thank
us.
you.
Everybody, I hope
having
the
us.
rest of your week goes great. Have a nice night.
Good night, guys. Thank you.
Good night.
I do
Amen.
not like Sad John. Sad John is not someone
I
that
know, man.
it's the president.
We
I
can,
love
John.
Happy
With
John.
John.
Smile. You can smile, John. Look, come on.
We'll
Come
talk
on.
about
Look at
aliens
look
next
at
week.
look
We'll
at
talk
look.
about
He's gonna
aliens.
This is
smile.
happy. It's not a happy
He's
topic.
fighting it. He's
Not a
fighting
good
it.
day.
All
Not a
right.
good day.
All right.
All right. Good night,
Good
everyone.
night.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.